Business is an economic driver. So first, we're talking about illnesses of cancer, PTSD, seizures. So we are limiting this use in alcohol overlays. And the alcohol overlays are in African American communities, in black areas. So we don't have any black people with cancer, PTSD, and seizures in those areas. And these are the people that we always talk about have the transportation issues to get places like the grocery store and to get their medicines. And we're putting it away from this community who may need someone. I know some people that have seizures or have sick cancer, and they need this use. So we're saying that we don't want to put this use in medical cannabis near black people because they what? They don't get sick? Because this is an economic drive and they don't need to make any money over there? Or because all of them will probably go around there and what's the problem here? And in the past, zoning have been used as a barrier in redlining for segregation.
Yes.
And it's an economic barrier. And here we are again talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we're doing the same thing. Because we have this notion that these people don't deserve to have what everyone else has in their neighborhood, And I'm having a problem with this because I represent these people. I am these people. So we are sending mixed messages. And alcohol, and some people may differ or disagree with me, it's not a medicine. To some people it might be, but it's not considered and classified as a medicine, but this medicinal cannabis is. So for us to associate that and lump it with alcohol overlays doesn't make sense. We said that we are implementing common sense limitations and restrictions. Make it make sense. What's so common sense about this, that this is what we've always done? I think we're so conditioned to putting less or limiting these areas that it's just something that we automatically do. And I'm not in agreement with this. I believe it should be able to go anywhere in any district where a pharmacy can go because we are looking at a medication. We are looking at a new drug, a new business. And it can't go where some people who are always disadvantaged will be able to access it easily. So we're talking about safeguards in place. And again, we're just doing what we've always done and being biased and limiting in these communities. And that's why you see the poverty. That's why you see these conditions, because they're being handled differently. And this is a prime example. So if we want to use something for common sense, this isn't common sense. This isn't making sense to me. Now, if it made sense to me, yeah, I'm on board, but it's just not making sense because we are using zoning again as a barrier for economic and, in this case, health. And so we need to think about this because I do believe we should not limit this. And again, I've been asking over and over that we relook at that alcohol overlay since we are keeping economics out of these areas that need it the most. And if someone got sick and they weren't able to go and get this medication and it would help their child or it would help their person, and they have to travel over town and then can't leave them there half the day and don't come for them, these are the same issues we talk about all the time, and we're piling on and adding yet another barrier to people accessing medicinal cannabis. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Lanier, again, I think my position has been that particularly as it relates to alcohol overlays, that the only forms of economic development in black communities is alcohol, and I think that's not true. But that being said, Mr. Manager, would you like to respond to that?
Could you repeat that, Mayor Johnson? I didn't hear that part.
That the only source of economic development in black communities as it relates to alcohol overlay is alcohol-related uses, and I don't think that's absolutely correct. But I think the question is...
I don't think that's what Alderwoman Lanier was saying.
That's what I'm saying, though.
I think I would address...
One second.
Yeah.
But I do think that some of the issue was, and manager might be able to talk about it, because, again, this is a evolving space, that some of the medicinal uses, when recreation comes on board, can become recreational spaces. And I think that is what some of the concern.
They don't deserve recreation? You better be glad they got it.
Again, ma'am, I'm speaking. That the concern is that the places right now that are medicinal or pharmaceutical in nature, once this evolves or plans out, which is we're still watching, could easily then become recreational spaces, which might create some of the challenges that we have experienced in areas where there are proficient and excessive alcohol uses. Mr. Manager.
Downtown?
So I think that we're
everywhere.
Red zone district? That's what we're talking about?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
you were respected chair. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
So staff is trying to thread the needle through a lot of different concerns and a lot of different realities.
Make it make
sense. So we are yes, ma'am, I understand you. So we're taking the feedback that we got from council and trying to balance every part of that feedback into an initial zoning ordinance for medical cannabis pharmacies that we believe meets the balance of what council directed staff to do at the last discussion for this. Certainly, if council felt that the zoning did not need to be tied to alcohol density overlays, that's council's purview to make. I am offering a recommendation based on the feedback that we got from you the last time that we came before council. We heard both the feedback that we wanted to see the use expanded. So we absolutely took that feedback and we looked at relatable uses. Pharmacy was the use that we thought was most relatable to a medical cannabis dispensary. We also took the feedback that we wanted to see some limitations on this because of it's a brand new use and a brand new program and a brand new industry, and that we wanted to be incremental in our attempts to kind of understand what impact this specific land use is going to have on our communities, just like any other land use, whether we're talking about a business type or a residential type or an industry type. So I think that, from the work with our staff and Bridget and the team at Urban Design, from the input from SPD, from the input from our Department of Revenue, from our input at MPC, that we have presented what we believe is an ordinance that strikes the balance that we heard from some of the differing views from council, or at least some of the different views from council, if differing views is not correct. So we think that this is that this ordinance is the right first step here. We think that we create that balance from the feedback. It, just like any ordinance, we can revisit it. We can come back, and if we're seeing that we want to see more, or we're seeing that it's too hard for cannabis dispensary pharmacists to find a suitable location, then we can take that up and make it less restrictive. Or if we're seeing that it's having an impact that we didn't want or that we didn't anticipate, then we can go back and make it more restrictive or tailor it differently. So I think that this is a prudent first step, and really trying to balance all of the different priorities we have for this brand new industry and this brand new land use.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor Johnson.
Alderwoman Shabazz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My only concern, and I just have a question in reference to location, and as Ms. Liddy was making her presentation, my question is for council not having control over the locations, or don't have any say-so in these companies where they can be